Welcome to Linux Saloon, a place to discuss tech, open source, and where Linux is always on tap. Each show will have talk about Linux projects such as a distribution desktop environment or an application. We also chat about the news or any variety of topics from the community. Anything that is Linux, tech, and open source related is on the table for discussion. I'm Nate, a Linux fitness and vintage tech enthusiast with an almost healthy obsession with the OpenSUSE project. Where's my? I don't have my little OpenSUSE things. Where are they? They're hiding. Oh wait, here it is. Kind of my little Lego chameleon. Look at that. Anyway, with me today, I have a fantastic panel of people. I've got Jinda, Eris, Scrub Ghost, and Benji. Now you're Benji, not just Ben. I'm so confused.
Change it again on Zoom.
Oh, Benji's
You're going to
fine.
have to be severely punished.
Yeah. Benji's good. I like it. It makes you. It's kind of like I could have like a golden retriever named Benji, right? Is that what it is?
It's more endearing.
It is. It's very endearing.
You know, that's actually kind of funny.
Yeah. Do you have a golden retriever? So anyway, be sure to do that straw poll if you haven't done so already. We've got an open mic night on the docket tonight. We have a straw poll to talk about AI tools. But first, what I've been doing in Linux and tech, I wanted to share a little something here. So I was doing some IT work. I don't know what to call it. I'm not even sure. I'm not really sure even how to define this. But at my church, it's people volunteer to help do things, and I didn't have access to a certain area for quite a while, so I didn't really do much to kind of help out there. But what I ended up doing was installing a new firewall switch using OpenSense, Scrub Ghost, just for your notes. Firewall switch, and then running some one new line to an area for another, basically an intermediate distribution frame, which is not quite a frame yet, so intermediate distribution switch. And then rerouting some wires in the office areas, because it looks like somebody went through and just disconnected a bunch of things. So these things happen. Anyway, so my son and I, we rewired some things, reran a bunch of stuff, ran some a new line, and then configured the switches to do what they got to do. And we're talking about this in the pre-show. And what I wanted to get to with you, Scrub Ghost, was about switches. So managed switches. So I have what I have in there is a Cisco Catalyst 3560. And so I set that up to have, right now, just because I don't have enough managed switches yet, just VLAN, just one VLAN 1. And you're saying that VLAN 1 is, I should move everything off of VLAN 1 for security purposes?
No. If you're using just a flat network or a local LAN, VLAN 1's fine.
Okay.
Because everything will just be on VLAN 1. But if you want to start breaking stuff up into different sectors, like you've got a management VLAN and a, say, data VLAN or a printer VLAN and a voice VLAN, don't use VLAN 1. Put everything on VLAN 2, 3, 4, 12, 28, whatever.
Okay.
Just because when you've got your layer 3 switch working, it'll pass VLAN 1 around.
So when you say pass it around, can you explain that to me? Because pretend like I don't know anything, which is pretty close to accurate.
Well, it's like when you start trunking between switches.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want a switch to have all your VLANs, you've got to create a trunk between the two switches.
Right.
So you'll trunk VLAN 2, 3, 4, 5, or whatever, but VLAN 1 seems to sneak through it.
So no matter what, VLAN 1 always
seems to sneak through it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not an expert. I'm a generalist, so I do desktop support, LAN engineering, LAN network, printer support, or the whole lot. So I haven't actually specialized in anything. But with my
Printer
work
support.
in,
Now,
yeah,
I have to say, I hate printers. Is that fair to
yeah,
say?
so do I. With an absolute passion. Because we at work we run an old Unix system that does a lot of our hospital bookings and the like in them, and we got to use PCL5 for our printers. I'll leave it there.
Yeah, I find that printers are the worst. Like
A hundred
they're
And they're
percent.
getting worse. And they're getting worse as time goes on.
well, they're just miserable, angry things. Like they're it's like when you ask a printer to do something, or like okay, any other peripheral. I think I've said this probably in here before, but when you ask a peripheral to do something, like when you want your screen to turn on, or you want to connect a Bluetooth headset, everything just kind of falls in line. It does it. It connects, does all these things, and it just works. And everything's fine. When you ask a printer to print something, it says, well, hang on. I'm going to first calibrate and make sure everything is fine. I didn't do it ahead of time. I just decided to do it now while you asked me to print something. And you're obviously in a hurry, so I'm, of course, going to calibrate, and then I'm going to do I'm going to check all the trays one at a time to make sure everything's working. And it's like a suggestion. It's like maybe it'll do it, maybe it won't. So I don't know. I find printers just dreadful little creatures. Cretins, in fact. Do you have a favorite brand of printer?
Well, with an actual Unix system, HP is meant to be the default. So yes,
Okay.
when I'm dealing with that particular Unix system, HP is the best. But in the last couple of years, they've dropped from the 5E, PCL5E to PCL5C. So yeah, they've got really bad. Like Roche's and Kyocera and all that, their PCL5s seem to use different escape codes for all the different trays, and that's the major thing I have trouble with. Is I want to send a job, say, for a red sheet or a label or a white sheet. You use the escape code to say, okay, I'd like to use this tray, please. And it gets awfully confusing. So my favorite at the moment is actually Toshiba, but it's not one we support within our department of the organization. So the clients we serve within the global company, they can actually go and get whatever they want. So they buy it through us, they'll get a HP. But if they buy it themselves, they'll often get whatever they want. There's even some areas that have printing for a service. So they go and get the service. We need a printer for here. So they get a certain amount and they'll put whatever. So you'd end up with cannons or whatever they want to put in there. And it gets awfully tricky trying to get this 60-year-old Unix system that gets regular updates, but you've still got to manipulate it to work with the modern hardware. And as you can guess, it gets a little bit frustrating at times.
I have an HP back there, and it's actually been pretty great, really. And then I've Xerox at work. No, they're not fun.
Yeah, I've got a lot of respect for Xerox. In the 70s, they produced the first WYSIWYG.
Yeah, I mean,
but
yes.
They gave up on it. So yeah, whatever.
Well, they didn't. I think they stopped trying. That'll be my take. But yeah. So the router, or I should say the switch I'm looking to get additionally, and I'll put it in the chat. I can find it here in just a hot second. So have you heard of Zixel? Zicel? I don't know how to pronounce this thing. I'm just going to put it here in the there's the managed switch. A little bit more in my my price point here. So I don't know if you want to look at this. I'm not advertising for this company or this brand, but I did buy one of them, an 8-port managed switch, and that was easy to set up. I don't really like the whole cloud thing that it has, but for the price, it's not bad for a managed switch. So they have a 48 port with PoE with only 2 SFP ports, which I think I only need. That'd be plenty, I think. 170 watt PoE. It's $350 for the switch, and it's a full. I think it's a full managed switch, so you can set VLANs and everything else you need to do. So have you ever used any of these?
No, but it depends how deep you want to get into it. It's like a managed switch. When I talk VLAN 2, I'm talking about basically MAC addresses.
Mm-hmm.
So what you do is you can divide the ports up into individual little local LANs. So you can put your own IP distribution on it, and you can do a lot of that. But you need somewhere that will do the routing for you between the different VLANs.
Right. I'd probably just use my OpenSense box for that.
Yeah. So as long as you can manipulate each individual switch and set up like this is VLAN, that and that. But when you connect the 2 switches together, like you got your main switch and the secondary switch, and your secondary switch has everything divided up into this is this local LAN and this is that local LAN, you need to let them know that that's what's going on.
Right.
So as long as the 2 switches understand each other, when you trunk when I talk trunk, you're putting all the VLANs across the trunk.
Right.
And when I talk VLAN, that's that layer 2 distribution on your switch where ports 157 or whatever go to this VLAN and ports 289 go to that VLAN. They have to be a differently an identified VLAN that the original switch understands. So that's why we say VLAN. It's like VLAN 2, VLAN 3, VLAN 4. And in our big organization, we have like multiple VLANs, and they all need to be trunked between the different switches. So you've got a switch over in the stores area, and you want, say, the printer VLAN over there. You just need to activate that port to say, look, your VLAN printer. Mm-hmm. But you need enough organization in it that you can do it easily or you can do it the hard way. And Cisco offers a very easy way to do it.
Well, I'll have to do some more learning and understanding.
But if you're just going to,
works.
Yeah, it's very complicated, but once you understand it, it's easy. But if you're just going to stay on a flat VLAN, like everything's on the default VLAN 1, you're just hooking up switches together and just make sure that you don't do a loop. Like you go from switch here to switch there, and then you get another switch, but that switch doesn't go back to the original switch. You're good. You can just leave it all on default as long as there's not too many machines on there and your IP range can handle all the devices.
Yeah, that won't be a problem.
Yeah. When I say you don't want to loop it, is that you can get what's called a broadcast storm. Just look it up.
Mm-hmm.
It comes. Yeah.
There's a way to, I think, avoid that, so it knows not to do that if you have everything.
Yeah, you can put a guard on it, and once it detects that the broadcast storm's going off, it just turns off one of the ports, so it can't keep looping and getting too bad.
Well, cool. Well, I did say Ron in the chat said it's pronounced, I think, Z-cell, Z-I-I-I cell, Z-cell. Is that correct? And then Mike Chilson says, I have one of their NASAs. So if Mike Chilson has it, then it must be good. So if you have done that straw poll, you can go ahead and knock that out now. Oh, Ron also says, last Zycell thing I used was back in '98, a 34 analog modem. That's some quality stuff right there. Do you still have it, Ron? It seems like you might still have to work with those ThinkPads of yours. But anyway, well, cool. I guess we'll see how this shakes out. Doing network on a budget is different than one with a much bigger budget. So we'll see how it goes. Oh, and there's Trina Technobabble. She says, hello all. Hello. All right. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and get on to the straw poll. This is an exciting one. Eris, how did you come up with this one?
I had to look for inspiration.
Do you ask ChatGPT or Grok or somebody?
No, I just looked around for polls.
Oh.
I did get some interesting replies. First reply, honestly, only if it. Well, I'll see the question, so in case so people don't know the poll. Would you welcome new AI tools into your distribution? That's the question, and people's response was, honestly, only if it was optional. I dislike most AI nonsense, but I'm open to using it where it might be useful as long as it doesn't is not forced upon me. In most cases, I find it takes me longer to use AI than to just do it myself. And then somebody else said, I think more distros are going to have AI. And then somebody else said, I remember when email was such a cool new thing. Nowadays, I try to avoid it like the plague.
Is that saying like when AI is cool, then we'll avoid it like the plague later on?
Oh, I guess it was just like the idea of being able to contact somebody instantly or without any cost, really, right? You can just email anybody, and now you get all this spam and like these like uh, uh kind of like scams. So it's one thing like the technology itself, and then like the unexpected consequences, I guess. Is what they're getting at.
Yeah.
And somebody else said, I still can't understand why my employer has officially adopted AI for us to be using doing troubleshooting. It's not authoritative. It's frequently wrong. Honestly, I think the things to do is to use it. The things to do is to use it, give out wrong info and bad advice to customers, and basically force the matter. And then somebody else said, I think AI is as optional as the internet and GPUs by now. And more responses. I think more distros are going to be written by AI. And somebody else said, I think AI is fine if it's optional. I'd be okay with it, with having it installed by default, as long as it wasn't enabled by default, unless it was strictly local. Um, Somebody else said, only if optional. It can be removed or not installed from the get-go. And then somebody said, I never accepted TOS for the assistant on my phone. Eventually, it stopped bothering me. Linux expects better. Pre-installed is fine as long as it requires the user to consent before it starts running. And the final reply was, I said, talk to the hand.
That's funny. Talk to the hand because the keyboard's not listening.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know. Yeah, so it kind of makes me think a little bit on that. Like I find I use there is an AI I've used locally, and also I use a web-based one as well, and I find them very useful for tackling technical problems. Not necessarily because it's always right, but it sends me down a path that gets me closer to right. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, kind of like a Wikipedia article or something like that, like an encyclopedia, right? It's not gonna give you everything, but it gives you like a basis to start, maybe.
Right. Because it gives me just enough to like get going, and then it might send me down it may not allow me to, well, it may not have the right answer, but it has something closer to a right answer than me reading through a bunch of like forums. So, and I guess that's kind of where I'm getting at with that. So it's not like it's not great, but it's not awful. Maybe, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I don't know.
Have you ever used the DuckDuckGo AI?
Yeah, because I automatically like I can say like click on it to have it assist.
Did you notice it says it gives you the sources, and then it says it has a little like disclaimer. It says this information might be inaccurate based on the sources that were used.
Right. I think the part of AI that concerns me is if everything is generated by AI, then nothing new will be created.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's what
That's
people were theorizing with Stackflow Exchange. That a lot of information for like programming comes from that.
mhm,
And what happens when people stop using that and just they use AI?
right. It's a good question. Well, I suppose if the AI has consumed all of
But
the
it would in theory only work, I think, for it not to be a problem if we were static with programs with programming. Like we didn't choose a new language or something like that. Like
right.
because you have all this gain info from all these years, all these months, everybody put in their questions and everything. And I mean, what if a new language comes out? Then you would have to train it somehow on the language
Right.
without that.
Well, with a manual, I suppose, like this is what the commands do. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, no, it's I find it useful. Sometimes it's just wrong.
Useful for what? For like answering questions? For what?
So like let's say, how do I like that Cisco switch? How do I set this up for? And I explain what I want, and then it says we have to do this and breaks it down. Like Grok breaks it down really nicely on the X AI, and then it gives it you can actually copy and paste the commands and whatnot, and it tells you. It even says replace your password with your password, and then so I copy that into a text editor. Then I make the changes there, and I copy it into the console, and it works. And I think there was a couple instances when something didn't work. I said, "Hey, this didn't work. Why is that?" Like, "Oh, well, what version are you running?" So I ran the version number. It says, "Well, you don't have it. That command isn't yet there." Then it helped me to kind of figure it out from that point. So, yeah, so I find that quite interesting. Oh, it's like things like, or if I search the web for you know what is the which ports are PoE or power over Ethernet on the Cisco Catalyst 3560, and if I search that, I'll get a bunch of stuff, and I have to read through it. But if I ask the AI that specific question, it will give me that answer immediately, and I don't have to spend minutes reading through a bunch of documents. So it shortened the amount of time it took me to go from point A to point B, I guess.
Would you say, see, I've had different point of views on this, but would you say that AI is a replacement for search engines?
No,
Yeah. Because
not I
I've
wouldn't
I've
say
heard
so.
people say that it's much better than search engine, and I've heard the exact opposite, that it does not replace in any way a search engine.
So it really depends on what it is. If I'm trying to find a specific answer for something unique, I think it's I think it's better. But if I'm trying to find some general discussion or information on something, it's not. If that makes any sense. So if I have a very specific question, it might be useful. So I don't know. It's a mixed bag.
One final question, because I think I should say the results, but I know you like to cook, right?
I
Would
do
you go find a recipe by search engine now, or will you just ask AI for a recipe?
search engine, but what I might do is what would go together for with what would pair well with like this entree. I might ask an AI for that,
Okay.
but like not
Um,
for cooking. No, I'm gonna go to allrecipes.com.
is that like your best source you found?
Yeah, I like
Okay.
allrecipes.com. Although not all recipes, but like there's a couple other that I like to do. Mississippi pot roast. So there's a recipe out there for that. I just not all recipes. And also like a Texas style pulled pork is another one I use. That's not from all recipes. I can't remember where it's from though. I have to check my search history. I didn't link it or tag it.
Hmm.
But yeah.
As far as the poll, let me refresh one last time. Number one answer was no, I do not want AI models in my distro. And that was 48%.
Mhm.
Followed by yes, install assistance by default with 22%. Followed by yes, but only as a manual add-on with again 22%. Those both got the same percentage. And Tux Penguin got 6%, and other got 6%.
So I would vote yes, but only as a manual add-on. I would find it useful to like take a series of emails and like a thread. Like sometimes I can't follow a whole thread and just summarize it for me. I find that useful. I don't have that ability, but that's something I would like. I think Nextcloud can do that.
To what exactly? I didn't hear that. Sorry.
So let's say you have like a thread of emails, like it's one subject, it's
Mm-hmm.
like someone responds, a bunch of people respond. And so it takes me a long time just to go through all of it and then get through the discussion. But if you could have like the AI summarize it and just tell you just the overall points of it, then I don't have to spend all that time reading the entire thread of emails.
Hmm. I've heard people say that if depending on your prompts, you get better answers to like a question like that to summarizing something.
Hmm.
But I haven't done this recently, which probably changes things. But when I did that article, give me a summary of this article, it gave me very generic information. It didn't give me like I want key points, like the key points that are the most important on the search engine of the article for it to tell me, but it wouldn't give me that. It would just give me like things I can just tell by the looking at the let's say the headline of the article. Like you can assume a lot just by the headline what the article's going to say, and it kind of seems like what it was giving me when I would ask it for a summary.
Hmm. Yeah, the headlines can be very misleading too, just in general, like a lot of stories. But what can you do,
Where I've
huh?
had
What was it?
where I've had the best success with AIs is if you line them up. So you just don't go summarize this. You start with, can you please summarize an article for me? And then it will ask, okay, can you please give me the article? And then it often gives a much better response.
Hmm. I, I usually like to read the articles, or I'll ask for sources, things like that. But um, emails that I want to summarize, if anything, because so many emails. My inbox right now has 1,756 emails. So it's been a
When
busy
is
month.
your email bankruptcy coming?
My email bankruptcy? It's like
You never heard
what
of that?
no.
People declare email bankruptcy. They they give out like a response to everybody and saying, if you haven't received your email, please send it again because I'm starting over fresh. Once once you reach a certain number, some people say that it's impossible to ever catch up. So you have
Yeah,
to just tell
control alt,
people.
yeah, control A, delete.
Because like some people use their inbox as a to-do list, and they meticulously go to inbox zero every day. And if you start out like you say with like let's say over 10,000 emails you haven't read, you're never gonna maybe catch up that way.
So I actually was all caught up not that long ago, and like work life went out of balance, and probably about 6 weeks ago or so, 5 weeks ago, about maybe about a month or so. So someone says, Steve, my mic is so low. All right, let me fix that. Is this any better? How about that? No, probably not. All right, wait a second. How about now? Is that better? I'm waiting for Steve to respond because I know Steve's hard of hearing, so I don't want to. I don't want to discriminate against Steve. Anyway, I actually got caught up, had 0 emails I would say maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, and then I just like right now it's just a bunch of just a lot of just garbage, but almost okay, almost better.
One of the things that I I do with emails, if it's something that you need to keep like a record of for like
Uh
anything that
huh.
comes up, but you're not supposed to reply to anything. Like I don't know if you do this, but I just send it to a folder, and I never touch those. I mean, they go in there, and if I need, I go looking in there. But I know that that's one way to save time.
Well, so for me, it's um, like I get like a lot of newsletters. That's most of my emails, really. It's like the fanatical newsletter. Sometimes it's interesting, sometimes it's nothing I care about. So like this latest one, nothing nothing there. So delete. Okay, now I'm down to 300, 1745. So anyway, so it's something like that. Some like some new stuff. I follow a lot of projects, so a bunch of GitHub notifications. So I try and get through those quickly, just kind of see what's going on with a bunch of stuff. Best Buy, remember Best Buy? They still exist. I hope they don't go the way of Radio Shack. So it's a lot of it just is flyers essentially. That's what they
You think
are.
that's possible? That we're not gonna have an electronics store anymore at all? Like Best Buy's like the last one, if you don't count
I,
like Micro Center or something.
I mean, it's possible. I hope they're doing okay. I still
yeah,
go. I still go to them.
I know of several locations in the DC area. I don't know how long they're gonna last, but at least right now they seem to be doing pretty decent.
Yeah, I think people missed going out to places. Sometimes it's fun just to like, I don't know, window shop at a Best Buy.
Yeah, and then even with Micro Center, I'm fortunate to be in an area that just so happens to have three
Oh,
within a reasonable distance of each other. Two of whom I can reach by means of subway. So it's pretty easy to get to them and get what I need and leave. The third one, oh my goodness, it's a pain to get to. You can get to it on public transportation, but it takes forever. Um, but it's nice to have that when you want to, and yeah, that's how it works out for me.
I'm picking up what you're laying down. I want to go to Micro Center at some point in time.
Like I remember one time Linus Tech Tips made a video in Singapore, and then they said that since it's like a small country, people would just go to the store to buy things.
Mm-hmm.
That online shopping wasn't like a big thing over there,
Hmm.
and there was like everything you could look for. There was like a section in like the mall, like monitors, just computers, just laptops, just uh it was very different, like the way everything was set up. Because you're not gonna have like just one floor of like electronics right here at a mall. But it was like that at Singapore when he went there.
That's pretty cool. Micro Center is definitely a nice resource when you want to go in store and get what you want. And I found it to be a rather nice experience. Going there, good deals on different things, and I'm glad that they are around. And I recommend if you haven't been to one, check it out and kind of, at least know that you've been there before.
So I would have to go to Chicago to go to Micro Center, and then I would have to tell Steve's very own if I'm headed that way because there's no way I could go that direction and not tell Steve. So Steve, I'll let you know when I go to Micro Center if you're still listening, if you can hear
Ju-
me.
Just give him a heads up, like I'm coming your way, so be ready for me to pick you up.
That's right. We're gonna go do stuff. Cool. Well, so AI. Eris, would you want AI in your distribution?
I think I would like it if it's gonna be installed by default, to be local. And if
Okay.
it's cloud, I don't want it installed at all.
That makes sense.
You can have like a add-on or something, a capability if you want to add it, but not by default.
Yeah. Oh, if it's installed, I mean, I guess I don't know. I don't know on that one. What
Because
about you,
usually
Dale?
anything installed is running, right? That's what I'm
Well,
getting at.
not necessarily. It could be installed and not. Like it could be there, but dormant. As long as it's not like collecting information, I guess. It really depends on what it's doing, I guess. If it's monitoring things on the desktop, that would bother me. But if you can ask it to do something to help you out, that'd be different, if that makes any sense. Like, hey, can you summarize these emails? That's really the only thing I want it to do. Although now apparently you can send a CSV file to Grok and it will create a report for you. It'll summarize everything and create like a... So that basically takes the time out of making PowerPoints. So I think that's great right there. So what about you, Dale? How do you feel about the AI in your desktop?
Probably going to be unpopular opinion, but I really don't care as long as it's useful and it's not doing things that it shouldn't be doing. As long as it's sort of like kind of the Android phone, I can give it permissions and say, yeah, you can do this, or no, you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
If I have tailored permissions that I can set to it, I'm actually kind of for it.
What about you, Jinda?
The only issue I have with it is a while ago when I think they switched over to like Windows 7 or Windows 10, and you went into the file manager and you wanted to search for a file, and they started asking you all these stupid questions like, oh, are you looking for a video? Are you looking for this? Are you looking for that? And anytime these companies decide to make something that's helpful, it's always for me more of a pain than it is being helpful. So I just get nervous when they say AI.
Mm-hmm.
I can just see it being completely 100% useless.
Like Clippy.
Yeah, it's like Clippy, or I deal with Autodesk Inventor, that software package. They
Mhm.
add a bunch of stuff in it, and it's just usually not even worth looking at because it's just pointless and useless. They haven't got any AI yet, thank God, because I know they're just going to screw it up.
Yeah, I
Sorry to
think
be negative.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. I think the way Microsoft is integrating it everywhere, I think, is creepy. It's just it's too heavy-handed.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the Microsoft AI thing is no thanks.
It's
And
not,
just being Microsoft, I don't trust it anyway.
and I find that Copilot is daydreaming a lot more than it used to. Like it's kind of the answers are less helpful, I think, than they were when I first started using it, maybe like a year ago or whatever, 6 months ago. I don't know how long ago I started using it. So I don't really use it much anymore. What about you, Scrub Ghost? What do you think? AI in your Linux distribution, is that something that would appeal to you, or would that drive you away?
Well, I'd like to have it integrated. That'd be nice if I want to use it, but like I'm having trouble with email programs, so I'm quite happy to go to a web-based one and do all my stuff there. If I want it integrated into my operating system, I'd like it local only.
Okay.
Just learn off me and help me, and
Right.
that's all. But you need some grunt behind it to
Yeah.
get
Well,
it
just be
to
a little
work.
slower.
Yeah, and what do you want to do? Do you want someone to control you, or you want to go out and learn yourself? It's like if you're fed the information to what you want to learn, are you actually really going to learn anything, or just parrot it?
Right. Yeah, I think if it helps you to learn, that's one thing. If you're using it as a crutch, I think that's another. What say you, Swift? What do you think about AI in your Linux distribution?
I don't mind it being available. I just don't want it to be, as long as it's not intrusive or something that has to be there, I'm okay with it.
How about you, Benji? Or Ben? That's all right. You don't have to answer.
What?
That's a perfect answer, I think, right there.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
What do you think about AI in your Linux distribution?
Oh, good grief. This is like opening a dang on can of worms here, guys. That's all I'm gonna say. Uh, damn. AI in a Linux distro? Oh my word. Um, I personally have no problem with it, but you know, uh, as long as the way I think about it is like this. Apple started doing it, Microsoft has started doing it with their operating systems, and the way I think about it is this, as
Benji,
much
Apple
as
failed.
yeah, well, look, I mean, whether we like it or not, AI is going to become a thing of the future, and you know, I don't think there's really any way to work around the darn thing. So, this is just something that, whether we enthusiasts like it or not, this is just something we're going to eventually have to learn to accept, and it's just how it is, right, Nate?
Oh, I think as long as it's not forced. What
As
what
long as
says
it's
you,
not
Eris?
forced upon us, to use it in our daily lives, I think, you know, it's just what it is.
I was just gonna say, like Scriptco said, Apple promised a lot of AI abilities that it never
Yeah,
materialized,
which I thought
and
a lot of it was pretty good, but
but they
you
never
know,
they never actually delivered, and because of
yeah,
that,
unfortunately, a
um,
lot of Apple intelligence just didn't make it into the current operating systems, and you know,
so because of that, the Apple has moved people around, and they stop giving the authority to the person who was in charge.
yeah, they,
But it's kind of like because X company's doing it, like I gotta do it, or else I'm gonna fall behind, right? It's kind
yeah,
of that
there's a
mentality.
lot of
Um, but what I was gonna say is, have you? I know it's not great to buy from Amazon, but have you noticed the changes with the AI from Amazon
no, I
for
haven't
searching?
seen none of that. No.
So
Yeah.
if
I
you
have.
go if you go buy something, right, and if you wanna search
Huh.
the reviews, there used to be like a thing there. You can just it's a little search engine. You can search for a term, and it tell you. And now
Huh.
I don't think there's a way to get that search back.
Oh
So
shoot.
let's say like this. I'm looking at like this socks on sale on Amazon, and there's no little box there where I can search all the reviews and just look up something that I want. Instead,
Yeah.
it just says like a little summary, right? It says like right here, like customers find these socks well made, comfortable, cushioned feet, and appreciate their snug fit even during 10 days of walking. They keep warm in cold weather, particularly in Wisconsin weather, is effectively wick moisture from the skin. While some customers praise the thick and supportive material, others find them too thin.
Yeah.
The socks
Hmm.
offer good value for money and perform well in various conditions. Like, yeah, it's kind of like a summary, but it doesn't tell me much. Like, then I would have to dig even more time to go through the reviews than me just like searching for something. And I don't think, for me, it doesn't help me pretty much at all because I don't even know what specifically these people are saying. This is just like a summary of everything.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think when the statement itself is almost kind of conflicting, it's not very helpful. So I think, yeah. Do you still? I guess suppose you can you can still look at the reviews though. You can sort them by stars, I suppose.
So I just mentioned what Don Laughlin says.
Oh, sure.
LLMs and natural language interpreters are just newish type of AI. We've been using AI behind the scenes for ages. This is just the first big general purpose public usage.
Yep. We called them algorithms before, right?
Exactly. Nobody ever said we got our AI working on this. We just said we got an algorithm. Remember back then?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, the good old days of just calling them algorithms.
Let's call them what they are, large statistical models. That's all they're doing.
Yeah. Although I'm always very polite to them, just in case, when they take over, I want them to remember that I was one of the nice ones. So, just in case.
Yeah, I'd like Arnold Schwarzenegger looking after me myself.
Yeah. Come with me if you want to live. So, Mike Chilson, I think this is the first time you've joined on the stream. Welcome.
Thanks. I'm kind of fighting allergies right now, so you get to hear my stuffy head and coughing. So
That's all
sorry
right.
ahead of time.
No, this is a judgment-free zone. It's like Planet Fitness, except without the lunk alarms.
Cool. Now, I just wanted to add something into the AI discussion.
Please.
My question about including it in a distro is why would they do that? What would be the motivation for adding an AI into a distro?
So what I think is this is in my mind, this is what I would think the main driving force would be, essentially, would be as a tool to assist you, like another kind of a built-in search tool. Or, in the case of, so I guess the only example that I can really say that where it would be very useful for me is a tool to summarize emails so I can get through the emails a little bit quicker. Because a lot of times the emails, it's a conversation, and I don't need to read the entire conversation to help me, if I can just have it summarized, can boil it down to brass tacks. Because we have so much time in a day to make a decision. If you can get to have it help you make a decision a little bit quicker, I think that'd be valuable. Assuming you can trust the AI, that'd be the other thing too.
Right. I guess where I'm coming from with this is you see a lot of applications having AI added to them. And while sometimes it's helpful, other times it's just like, why would I even need this in this application?
Sure.
I mean, for email, I could see it would be very valuable, obviously. But in a screen grabbing program, why do you need AI? I mean, that's just a very crude example, but it gets back to my point of their motivation, because I'm not convinced that these companies that add AI into their products are not using it to farm information somehow.
That's the concern I have too.
Yeah.
So there is a flat pack called Upscale, UPSCAYL. It is an AI image upscaler, so it uses AI. It uses algorithms to upscale the image. That's called AI. But that is a very focused purpose AI.
Right.
I actually used that, and I had this image of too bad Mr. Starbucks not here. But he would love this. But I have this image of a Magic the Gathering card, and it's like I don't know, maybe like a 480p kind of image.
Mm-hmm.
And I scaled that to HD, and it looks great with this AI. And it's interesting how it like figures out like um the low resolution, like the upscaling, and it does not a perfect job, of course, because if you go look at it in up close, it's gonna be a lot of problems. But from just looking at like a full screen, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I've used it a few times to upscale some images that were a little bit had too few pixels, and it did a great job. And sometimes it does like not a great job. Like, it depends on how much you scale it. But yeah, I mean that's a valuable tool as well. I guess AI in photo editing to help you edit photos more efficiently. A tool to erase the background or to do specific functions. I think that can be useful there. And I hate the term AI. I'm so tired of it. Automation.
I posted a link to another one called Let's Enhance, and it's in the meeting chat. You want to put it out. but it's a good service. It is you get so many points to do it for free, and then after that you have to start paying. But same thing basically.
Okay.
It upsizes and enhances photos.
Yeah.
If I may,
Yeah.
real quick. I kind
Absolutely.
of have an answer. I think I have an answer to at least some of the why would a Linux distro add it? And my opinion is FOMO, fear of missing out,
Hmm.
fear of some other desktop doing it first, doing it better, get in on it quick. And at the same time, on the other side of the coin, you're going to have Linux distributions refusing to do it to you know, to go for the people that want to use a desktop without AI. So there's going to be some distros that are all on board for it. And I have a couple that come to mind for that category, but I don't think I'll say it. And then you're going to have some that say, no, we're not doing it because we want because our users don't want it. A little bit of both.
So another example of an AI you can have on your distribution today is the Wave terminal emulator that we actually did an application appetizer on some time back. That has a built-in AI to help you with commands in the terminal. I think that's having a helping hand there in the terminal. I think is very valuable. We still have to have some general knowledge to be able to get going with it, but that's another valuable thing you can do. Is use that to help you with things. So
Yeah, I didn't want to imply that everyone has an ulterior motive, but that was just the question I had because I've noticed an uptick in everybody adding AI to their applications, and
for sure.
and it's just like, okay, well, what's the big other than the advantage? What's the motivation for doing that? And I think you're right. I think it's we're afraid we'll miss out on it. So uh, interesting discussion though.
Yeah, I think it has its place, but it's not a magic cure all. It's not a magic pill that will help with everything. It's just a wrench, just a hammer, just a different kind of wrench or hammer. It's nothing. I don't know. I don't view it as scary, and I don't view it as amazing either. If that makes any sense.
The same way, yeah. I mean, it's a tool, and you're talking earlier about being a developer. I just and you and I had a private conversation about this a little bit, Nate. But
Mhm.
The biggest issue I have with AI is when it comes to coding, is it tends to hallucinate a lot. Um, if what you're trying to ask it to do is not within its um, base of information, then it will just make stuff up, you know. And that that's not to me, that's not a big deal because I can spot it right when I see it. But for someone new to coding, that can send them on, 2 hours of trying to debug a program when it'll never work, because of what they copied off from AI. So
Right.
I use
We
it
have to.
more for general information though.
So I think Ron agrees with you. He says I use phone a friend for helpful information. So he actually calls and asks the operator though, to which they'll move the audio jack over and connect him. That's probably where he lives in Canada. Would require that. Well, cool. Well, I was thinking it was a good discussion. Thank you, Eris, for yet another great straw poll for us to.
I don't know. I don't know if you saw that video that Oltnik posted. It's from X. It's posted on X from Jeff Geerling.
I have
Yeah.
not.
I'll post it. I'll put the link in chat. Um, and just to finish up, it's it's about a contest that Jeff Gurley made, where he showed these like images that were blurred of his file manager, and then he had people try to decipher what was actually hidden by the obfuscation. You know, the little blurriness tool you use,
Yeah, yeah.
and he moved the image around, and then I think he said $50. I think it was the price. So then people did various methods of unscrambling, and then pretty much they could tell what it was beneath the blurriness. In case you want to check that out.
Oh, yeah, we'll definitely check that out. Put it also in the show notes too, so people who are watches after the fact, they can check it out as well. Cool. Yeah, it'll be fun to check out. Except now I wonder how much of the stuff I've blurred on my website can be de-blurred now. Great. Computers.
It's what is that called? Escalation of like you know, like the um it's an arms race. There we go. Arms race.
Arms race. Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
Yeah, I think the old school method of unblurring was just squint your eyes.
Yes. Just kind of give it a little squint, and it all comes in clearly. Cool. Well, I thought I'd do like another just for open mic night monitors, because I just got some new monitors here, so I just want to talk about that. How many monitors, like right now, do you have plugged into your computer? And if you're in the chat, also on YouTube, I'm curious to know like how many monitors. So Jenny, you have 2 monitors.
2.
Yep.
They're only 32 inch.
Yeah. What are they, like 1080p or 1440?
Yeah, they're just cheap, 32 inch cheap monitor.
Okay. What about you, Scrub Ghost?
Well, I'm on a laptop with 1080p. On my desk, I've got a new AOC 27-inch curved 1440. An old Dell 27-inch 1080. The reason I've gone to 1440 is when I put my glasses on and I get that slight magnification, the 1080 tend to be a little bit grainy. So I've gone to the 1440 just for that clear view when I'm using my glasses. But it's a bit hard because it's currently set up for my work laptop, which uses Thunderbolt and Windows and all that rubbish. And unfortunately, the monitor has 2 DPs and 1 HDMI. And my Linux laptop here is only HDMI. And the second monitor, the old Dell, only has HDMI as well. So I've got a bit of trouble connecting them up. That's why I was asking about the dock before. But yeah, my main desktop, the kids pushed it off the bench a few months ago, and I'm too scared to open it up and find out what's broken.
Ooh.
I've got a 6900 in it and a 5900 CPU, and a fairly good motherboard, and I just don't want to know what's broken.
It's like what's that? Schrodinger's cat? Is that what that is?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like it's broken or not broken until I look at it. Yeah,
that's cool. Swift, were you gonna say how many monitors you have?
So I have a number of monitors, but most of them are in storage at the moment. I currently have my MacBook 2015 model, but there is a 32-inch TV that I have. It's like 720p TV, so it's not the greatest or huge or anything. But I do look forward to getting a really nice TV once I get established.
Well, good deal. So Steve's very own says he's got 2. And Mike, you said you have 3 1080p 32-inch monitors?
Yes. I have an NVIDIA card driving all 3 of them. Yeah.
That's cool. And then Rudy's Retro Intel says, I have 6 monitors here. Now, is it all hooked up to one machine, or is it multiple machines that's in front of you? I'm curious about that. So I think Rudy's probably got it. Rudy's the winner, I think, on this one. So Anna says, Jinda, mine too, Asus 22-inch 1080p. Good enough for me. It says it is a gaming monitor, but it's used the BIFness setting. I don't know what that is. BIFness? And switched to HDMI for it. It was $279 3 years ago. And then, all three are connected to, for Retro Rudy's Intel says, have all 6 connected to my rig, 32-inch each. That's pretty wild. And Don says 2 1080p's on his desktop, plus a separate laptop and 2 Android phones. Oh, so you got lots of LCD around you. And then Michael Whalen says, right now I'm watching on my TV and a laptop. I will hook up an external monitor to my laptop at times to help with copying information. Like, must be like secret information. I don't know. Ron Singh says, wow, I suck then 12.5 inch on my X220 laptop, typing in near darkness, hanging off my phone connected to at a dismaying 2G speed. No, I think that's great. That's like on the edge of living out a prayer, right? What about you, Dale? What do you got?
I've got 2 monitors. I've been running 2 monitors for 20 years, including on Linux. So I feel that when I'm on a laptop and I've only got 1 monitor, I feel like I've got an arm broke or something.
I understand that, yeah. So Stian says, 1 2K OLED using 2 breaks my neck and disturbs my concentration. 27 since anything larger and I would have to turn my eyes. Haha. Well, it's a 2K, so I mean that's cool. And also an OLED. And Rita says I only have 1 monitor. That's all I need. Because she's a very basic gal. Yeah, I think so. Right now I have technically 4 monitors. But these are 2 dual up monitors. So like they're like 2 1440p monitors on top of each other. And then I have my framework screen and then a Flip Go, which has got 2 panels, but it acts as 1. So I guess in a way this would be 7 standard displays, I guess, of the regular or normal aspect ratio. But I can add another one over here, but I turn that off because I don't want to stress the computer out while I'm doing a stream. So how many is enough? So Dale, you said 2. Is 2 enough for you?
2 is enough for me just because that's what I'm very used to.
Okay.
A third one, would be a bonus that I could probably, I'd have Zoom on one. I've had my video game on another one, and I'm probably watching Netflix or something on the third one. I don't know what I'd use the third one for.
Okay. I find whatever number, like the perfect number of monitors is whatever I have plus 1.
Boy, isn't that the truth?
So that's cool. Anyway, I just thought I'd ask that, see if any people what others thought about that whole multi-monitor. Do you remember like who here used computers back in the late 80s or 80s or even the 90s? I know Jinda obviously did. He probably used in the 70s too.
Yeah, me too.
Almost.
But do you remember
late 80s for me?
Yeah. Do you remember the like the IBM XT? You just had like one 12 or 13-inch screen sitting on top, of just of a
monochrome also.
What's that?
Monochrome also.
Yes.
Yeah, the green monochrome monitors. Yep.
So do you find it amazing like that was like if you put yourself back there, could you be productive on a screen, just like a single screen, no mouse, just all keyboard?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, because that's all we had.
Yeah, same here. I mean, you think about what we were doing with computers in the 80s, compared to what we're doing with them now. I mean, my gosh, everything is based around email, phones, communication, everything. So, and that just wasn't the case back then, right?
Mm-hmm. It's very different.
Yeah, and my file servers are all SUSE Open Enterprise stuff. So the only time I contact them is via a text session.
Right. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of things I just terminal into them. I want to get a few more of the. What's that?
I was going to say, I wrote my first commercial program that I sold on an Atari 800 XL.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
What was it?
In BASIC, an Atari BASIC.
No, what was the program?
It was there. We had a local cable company back then, and they needed a starfield simulation. Like you're going through space.
Uh-huh.
And the Atari was about the only machine at that time that could really put enough stars and move them, and it looked smooth, because of their graphics chip. And anyway, but yeah, I made $100 on that, man. I was 13 years old, and I had the bugs.
That's sweet. That's really awesome. Do you still have that program? Or is it archived somewhere?
I do somewhere. I think it's on a floppy disk somewhere.
So Eris put a link in the Zoom chat for on eBay. You can get an Atari 800 XL for $250.
Yeah, I actually collect retro computers. I've got a 800 XL. I've got an Apple IIe. I've got a Commodore 64 and a VIC-20 and a Timex Sinclair 1000.
Nice. I've never used a Timex Sinclair.
Yeah, don't.
I still would like to. All right, I got to make sure to get some of these other chats about monitors. So Sean says, just setting up my third monitor, one 27-inch 1080p landscape and two 21.5-inch portrait 1080ps. Rudy's Retro Intel says, it's hard to go back to one monitor. Yes, it is. It does. Like, was it Dale who said it's like losing an arm? And then Trina's Technobabble, because I got to make sure I read hers. She says, I have two 24-inch 1080p monitors on my Mac Pro 1. Wait, on my Mac Pro 1. 24-inch 1080p for testing streaming and a 19-inch on my PC desktop. And then Don Lackland says, 2G, are you watching Die Hard on Betamax 2, Ron Singh? Ooh, shots fired. And then let's see if there's anything else here I should hit up. And then Ron also says, I was most productive on a Paperwhite screen, DOS 622 and WordStar 3.3. My productivity was screening. Is it screening or screaming? I don't know. Anyway. Oh, there's Sean. Although, have you seen the Paperwhite screens that are out there, like color Paperwhite monitors have like a 30 hertz refresh rate? Has anybody seen those?
Yeah, I saw that.
I haven't. Who makes them?
I can't remember.
It's not quite available yet.
Yeah.
But I saw it in my Google News feed, and I clicked on it or tapped on it, whatever. Oops. Yes, I do use Google News feed sometimes.
So is it like a color e-ink kind of display?
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Was it like that? What is that? The electronic paper, the electric paper, the e-paper. Was
yes.
it that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't take power. Once you put the image on, you can take the power off, and the image stays on forever, right?
Yep. Or near forever. Okay. I get from Tom's Hardware here. Let's see if I can get this. Strip out all the extra nonsense out of the URL. I'll put that in the chat here. But I found this like really kind of neat. It's a I mean, obviously if it's a Paperwhite. I mean, if it's got 30 hertz, it's obviously refreshing a lot quicker. But I think this is kind of cool. Like, so a regular monitor, like I can only read on it for so long before it kind of gives me like my eyes start to go crazy, I think. So that's why I use a dark screen. But so a Paperwhite has more of a paper, look to it, e-ink, and so it doesn't have the backlight, or as bright of a backlight anyway. But they have color e-ink now that looks pretty good. I mean, it looked kind of, whatever a few years ago or maybe a decade ago, but now it actually looks really good. And I don't know, I thought it was just an interesting, it'd be kind of nice maybe to have like, kind of stacked an e-ink above my laptop or whatever, and use that instead, for if I have to do like more focused writing, or if I have to do a lot of reading and whatnot. I thought that might be kind of cool. I don't know. Would anybody here want to spend that kind of money on an e-ink screen, or that's just a waste?
I never thought they were that expensive to begin with. That they were made originally in cell phones, right?
The e-ink? Well, I mean,
Yeah.
larger ones are expensive.
Yeah, but they used to have them in cell phones to change the pad to like a keyboard from a number pad.
Okay.
Yeah, the old cell phones used to do that with the e-ink. And then what was it? Those Android readers, they used it too, right?
Yeah, some of them, like the Kindle.
Yeah, like a Kindle. They weren't very expensive. I was just shocked that they want so much money for something that I don't think is warranted, because they've been around for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're going back to a flip phone, for crying out loud.
Well, the thing about e-ink is, or e-paper, depending on who you talk to, is they were never designed for fast refresh rates.
Right.
So to have that in a monitor, there has to be like a leap or some sort of incremental change in the technology to allow it to function as something that is constantly updating the display, right? So that's where the money's going, because it's like new technology,
Right.
Right. Well, I think what I think is interesting is that's what obviously it's not having as good a refresh rate, but what would interest me though is the using it, using it as a monitor, just for like reading PDFs, or have to read a lot of documentation or doing a lot of reading. That to me, I think that looks. I think that's kind of the reason I think that it would be nice to have. If that makes any sense, because you can read a Kindle for quite a while without eye strain. But they're a little more expensive. So there's a I can't remember. I don't know what the price is, but this e-ink monitor by BOX Books, onyxbooks.com, but they have this Maria series monitors, and I think they look cool, but I think they're just a little bit pricey.
The one
Yeah,
thing
I looked into. Sorry, go, Harry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I looked into e-readers a little while ago, and just finding something that was multi-purpose, just you couldn't get it. And like a note-taking app, but they could also do your e-reader type stuff. But what I eventually settled on was Audible. So I just listen to the stuff I want to read now, particularly when I'm on the long trips between our destinations, and that's sort of sorted out for me. So I haven't looked into it since.
There was when I was flying this last time, I think, last trip to Texas, or maybe the time before, I sat next to a guy who had the Onyx Books tablet with the color one, and I thought it was pretty great. Like, I mean, it looked nice, the color was good, everything about it I thought was really pretty great. So I don't know, I'm so cheap. I don't know that I can just pull the trigger on on yet another thing. Like, I think I'm done buying technology for the year. I think I'm done. I got enough. Got enough garbage. Anyway.
Anyone want to take a bet on that?
Oh, let's not go there.
We're gonna have
Well,
to
you
cut
have-
down squares.
Well, you haven't pre-ordered your Switch, Nate.
No, I just got this 1X player from Matt on
Oh yeah.
Linux Out Loud. Yeah, he got something better, so he sold me that. And it's much smaller than the Switch. It's bigger than the Switch, than the Steam Deck. So, doesn't look it, but as far as like packing it away, it takes up quite a bit less space. I can't fit this in my, because I don't check a baggage. I only carry on, and so I can fit this in. This is a bit of a surprising. That's a bit of a stretch.
That's a beast though, that thing.
Yeah, but it's better in the hands for sure than the 1X player. In my hands, my big sausage fingers.
I got a little tiny one.
Meat hooks. Like everything, like a lot of controllers make me cramp. Like the Switch, no, not good.
No, they're making them bigger now, right?
Yes, I saw that. Yeah, Switch 2 grew up a little bit.
The thing I don't like about those e-ink displays is that after like I don't know how many refreshes, like it could give you like another page or something, like in a Kindle, but then it has to do like a full refresh when it like inverts everything, and then like flashes. I don't like it. That's very distracting. Like I can see that if you're reading some text, but if you're going through a lot of different things, it's gonna have to do that, right? It's gonna have to do that hard reset like frequently, right?
I think
that's like innate to the technology, I think, right?
Not any. So the older, yes, but now they're a little bit better now about it. So it's not required like it once was. So the newer e-ink displays are more, can handle more dynamically, because the problem with the old ones is you'd have some ghosting after a while, so they would flash it basically to reset all the cells essentially to, so it looked more crisp essentially. And that's not, so it's not required as much. At least that's what I read. So I could be wrong. And I've been wrong before.
What was the total amount of monitors you had before your white display you have now?
So I had six actual physical displays. Look like 7, but just 6. 7 panels, but six actual monitors. So I downsized to 4.
No, I'm talking about your old setup, your old desktop setup.
Here?
The one you had different kind of monitors, not their old little displays. When you had like didn't you have like even a CRT or somewhere in there?
Oh, that was like a long time ago. Yeah, but I only had like three displays at that time. But I did have a mix. That was like when I was in my old house. Are you talking about that time?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a laptop, 2 monitors above, then a CRT. But I had to switch between the CRT and the other monitor because it could only push 3 total. So the most I've been able to push is with the framework. So so you brought up the Switch. Is anybody here interested in like the Switch? Getting the Switch 2? Does that interest anybody?
Oh, the Switch 2 is coming out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was checking it out. I just, like I said, I got a little tiny retro gaming system.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at all those, but I kind of wanted something small that I could put in my pocket. But the Switch, that definitely does look cool.
Yeah, my kids have Switches, but I don't think I'm looking at 2 yet. They've only just discovered the emulation part of the original Switch, so they're currently in there playing Mario.
Oh, wow.
Which both me and my wife are really happy about, because they're starting to get into original games instead of playing like Fortnite or whatever it is they play. I know what they play, I just don't care as long as I've got control over it.
Yeah, it makes sense. Every once in a while, my kids go through a retro gaming phase. Have you played the Super Mario Wonder on the Switch?
Yeah, I haven't played games for ages. The only
Okay.
thing I really miss is my Elite from my desktop, which is currently in the Schrodinger's cat category.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
you know, the standard thing like Skyrim and Fallout and that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's been a long time since I've played the console stuff.
Gotcha. What are you, Eris? Are you gonna get the Switch too?
Yeah. Then I don't know if I'm gonna use it though, but I'm gonna get it just so I can resell it.
Oh.
Now,
I mean,
it's interesting. I'm actually not sure if I'm gonna pre-order it.
It's expensive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's at least 450, I think.
Yeah.
They still haven't finalized, I think, the final price, right? Or have they? I don't think so.
Yeah, the
Um,
guys at work were complaining about how much it cost.
yeah. It's because Nintendo usually every system they make money on the system, unlike PlayStation and Xbox. Even though I think the PlayStation 4 and I don't know if the Xbox at the time they did make money, I think. But usually the gaming systems they lose money on the systems.
Right.
And then they make money on the games, on the licensing and everything, right? But Nintendo usually always makes money on the systems, except the Wii U. The Wii U was sold for a loss, I think. One of the versions.
Okay.
So they're kind of I guess jaded in some ways. They don't want to lose more money on this. Possibly it could be not sell well like the Wii U. So maybe that's why they're trying to set the price so they make a profit also.
Yeah,
They're
I've
very
heard
cautious.
that. Yeah, I've heard that Nintendo is actually trying to make money on the console this round as well.
yeah, I think not selling it as a loss is probably a good idea, just in general. Well, it seems like their games are more expensive than any other platform though too, or maybe I'm mistaken on that.
Because
Yeah, I think the other
Nintendo,
consoles. Sorry, Aris, you go.
I'll say it quick. Because Nintendo never has like the latest graphics. I think they can get away with that because it's never they for the most I don't know maybe the GameCube I think was like the best system they've ever had, but usually they never have the best graphics. So I don't think they feel the pressure to have like a really good system in order to like take a loss on the system, like PS4 and or PS5 and Xbox. So I think that's why they're able to do this.
Hmm. Yeah, it makes sense. I feel like Nintendo focuses more on fun than it does on necessarily best graphics. Like their games are very fun and whimsical, more so.
Yeah, they were more on the cartoony side, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want because I kind of like the Nintendo Switch Lite.
Mhm.
And then when I went over to Best Buy to go play with it in my hand, I touched it and said, "This thing is so cheap and it wouldn't last." So I asked around, and evidently they don't.
Well, actually, two of my kids have Switch Lights,
Okay.
and they've had them for years now. They've held up fine.
Oh wow.
No
To
stick
me,
drift
it
or
just
anything.
seemed so cheesy.
Well, it doesn't work for my hands, so I don't like them
Right.
because I don't have tiny hands. But or they just I don't know. Just it's not a good
Yeah, that's fine. I get
not a good
it.
experience for me. Do you have a Switch Lite, Eris?
No, but I've used one.
Mhm.
And like I said in put in YouTube chat, they're lighter and they're much more built as a handheld, because
Right.
you don't have to like the Switch it's very uncomfortable. It's kind of awkward to carry. Like it's kind of heavy.
Hmm.
Um, it's a big difference from the DS. I think the DS was like the right size and everything. I mean, it's also because this requires like a better graphics and everything. So, but
Sure.
yeah, I think it's too big to carry. I think the Switch they'd be better. I don't know if they're gonna improve it, but they'd be better off if they had like a good stand because the other stand was terrible. The original Switch stand.
Hmm.
Uh, and you would always just put it somewhere and then you can control hold it with the controllers separately. Because to carry the Switch itself for so much time, like an hour or an hour and a half or 2 hours, you're gonna play, that's it gets very tiring.
Yeah. So well, yeah, I do have different control Joy-Con things for our Switch that we have, and that makes it so I can actually use it without it cramping because it's got something meaty for me to grab onto. But yeah, it's not all that portable. But I guess this isn't any better, really. I would say. I don't think I'm gonna get the Switch 2. I know I don't know.
It's
Nothing
like
has really compelled me.
it has to do, I think, with the games, like
Hmm.
because they're exclusive to Nintendo and they've always have it. I don't know if they always will be. If you like the games, the only way you're gonna play them is if you get the Switch. And with PlayStation and like Xbox, you might just get them on PC or something later. So you don't have to get a PlayStation maybe. Eventually it usually comes to PC or something.
Hmm.
Even Linux now with Steam, I guess.
Right. Oh, there's something nice about the PlayStation console because you can still play the old PlayStation games on the newer PlayStation. Like they're backward compatible, which is pretty
Right.
rad.
It's the same architecture, right? That was a big problem with the other systems.
Well,
That all these like very unique like specialized hardware, and now it's
it,
just PC parts.
I think the PC the PlayStation 3 was quite different than the rest of them because it used some other like Power PC architecture. I thought
Yeah, it was
I could be
very
wrong.
unique and very hard to program, I think, and that's one of the issues that they try to solve with the PS4, just make it generic PC parts for the most part.
Right. I think AMD graphics too. I believe. Right.
For the PS4,
Yeah. Was it?
I assume so. Most of the systems do use the AMD, I think.
Hmm.
I don't think well, except for the the Nvidia handheld they made. What was it called? The Shield or something, right?
No, I think the Switch 2's NVIDIA.
Oh, they switched to Nvidia for the Switch 2.
Yep.
So so the Power PlayStation 3 had the Cell broadband engine, a multi-core processor developed by Sony, IBM, and Toshiba. Featured a power processing element based on IBM's PowerPC architecture and 8 synergistic processing elements. Although one was disabled in the PS3 for yield purposes, leaving 7 active. Interesting. And yeah, I think the PS4 is still great, Rudy.
So it will be the Nvidia Tegra T239 codename Drake, an octa-core ARM Cortex A78C CPU, according to Wikipedia.
Well, it should be. I mean, it's probably going to be great. I just wonder if they'll still make games for the regular Switch too. It's like that. It's been a very popular console for them. So I guess we'll find out.
They said that, right? They specifically said that of they know some people think that the price is going to be too much, or that they can't afford it. So you will still be able to play games on the old system that come out. I don't know for how long, but they still want to keep people playing with their old Switch, the new games.
I wonder if you can like scale the graphics down or whatever, like you would on PCs, the older
Yeah.
hardware,
Probably like that, yeah.
rendering distance and detail and everything else.
Oh, you
Now,
did
I
something.
understand if you. Sorry, Jinder.
No, you're fine, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, as far as I understand it, if it's a software copy, then you can pay on some titles. You can pay $10 or $20. I think it's probably USA dollars. You'll get the updated version, and as far as I believe, if you've got the hard copy, the actual card that goes in it, you can actually plug it into the Switch too, and it will work. But your software stuff to get it to work, as long as it's the correct title, you can actually pay $10 or $20 or whatever, and it'll update to a new version that has updated graphics and all that sort of stuff.
Interesting. Well, I want to welcome Shasten to the chat. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm kicking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has there been anything exciting in tech you've done this week?
Yeah, I'm redoing my NeoVim config right now as we speak.
I'm sorry, your what config?
My NeoVim configuration.
Oh, NeoVim. Okay.
Yeah.
And what are you changing about it?
So I have this switcher where I can switch between like distros and configurations really easily. I wrote just a simple bash script to be able to switch between them. And so I'm basically configuring like all of my note-taking stuff right now, but I'm going to be I'm basically separating all my note-taking stuff from like my programming and that sort of thing. And then I just switch back and forth as I need them.
Got it. What would be an instance where you would switch back and forth, like different when you're actually operating on a different distribution, or you're doing specific work on a specific distribution?
Yeah, so like if I'm doing like web development, I would switch to like my web development setup, and when I'm like writing documentation, I would go back to um like the markdown stuff. And then I just like to keep them separate because it basically gets to be a big mess and everything kind of gets in the way. So if I have them, separated, then, some of I don't have as many conflicts.
Okay.
So yeah, make it a lot easier for me.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, so, and I'm looking at Junior's, I'm trying out his distro on my other computer and a few other things. So yeah, I'm just slaving away.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you're at least having fun with it, though, right?
Oh, absolutely.
He's always having fun with something.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And Shasten, I might ask you to be a regular on here as much as possible.
I'd definitely do it. Like I can come on at any time. Just
Yeah, that
about.
would help. And also on Monday, like I was telling the rest of the guys, Ricky is coming back.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he posted a video on his YouTube channel, which I'll send to you after the show. He is coming back to Discord on Monday, and then on May the 1st, he plans to return to YouTube, actually.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's one of the OG people on my team, actually. So, but anyway, yeah, I'm glad you could make it with us tonight, at least for the tail end of the show. So
Yeah, I was invited to go eat tacos and I was gonna go clear on the other side of town, except the place where we were gonna go is closed, so we went somewhere a little closer to home, so I made
oh
it
well,
back pretty
I'm
quick.
glad you made it back in time for the rest of the show. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
because I almost faded out, and then you messaged me like, oh crap, I better jump back in.
All right. Yeah, no, I can come on anytime. You guys,
Well,
just
I'll be sure to DM you like the night
We're,
before or earlier in the day to make sure
yeah,
that you
well, you're
know.
always
yeah.
welcome. It's there's
Oh,
no invitations required. You can just you know, hang out
okay.
anytime.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
Well,
But
all
yeah,
right. It's that time for housekeeping, so we're going to go ahead and move on to that. There
Mm.
yes.
didn't do a straw poll on the distribution this time because something really big has released, and I need to stay on top of it. It's important for me professionally as
It's
well as
Ubuntu, baby.
Oh God.
Yeah,
it
I have
is.
suspected Nate to say that.
So it's not an LTS. It is a
No,
what do they call it? It's
no.
a intermediate release.
Yeah,
What do they call it? Interim
interim.
release. Yes.
It's an interim release, it's
So I'm not
next
going to.
year will be the LTS version. This is just a small minor update kind of thing.
Right. So I think it's pretty exciting. There's a lot of there's been a lot of changes, and so I'd like to dig into the Ubuntu land. So so next week, now whatever flavor you want. So there's a couple flavors I'm particularly interested in, and so I'm going to probably check out a couple of them. You can check out a few of them too if you like. But we're going to go ahead and explore, dip our toes in the Ubuntu of your choice.
Yeah.
Yes, Scrub Ghost.
Yeah, I think Savvy Nick's actually done a article on the 2504, I think it is, if that's what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
2504 Plucky Puffin. Or whatever they call the dang. I can't
Well,
keep up with these crazy names anymore. It's just like,
So-
oh my.
If you want to share that
Lucky fuck.
with the class, that'd be cool.
Shameless plug. I always do a Kubuntu review
Okay.
right around the beta of each one, and I already have it up.
Yeah.
I'll send you a
So-
link.
Perfect. So if you have any concern about your system, you need at least a 2 gigahertz dual core processor or better, 4 gigabytes of system memory, 25 gigabytes
Yeah.
of free hard drive space, and either USB port or DVD drive for the installer media.
Yeah. I'm
Internet
probably going to go
access
with
is helpful.
I'm going with my trustees Ubuntu and Unity this first. I always do.
Is this gonna come with apt 3.0? Does
I
anyone know?
I
I don't
have I'll check it out for you, Shasten.
It's fine. I got it. I'm just
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah.
I heard
I'm
good
going
things.
to Distro Watch right now to double check.
Yeah, I heard good things about app 3.0.
App 3.x, yeah, it looks okay. Well, Ubuntu Unity doesn't say anything about it.
It does. It does have an app 3.0, 2504.
Yay, frickin' A.
Oh,
So I have a more simplified app like dialogue that it gives you. It's not gonna be as verbose, and it's gonna be more organized. I think the way it shows you what's gonna be updated and stuff like that.
That is awesome. Oh my gosh. You know what? Heck with it. I'm gonna download their those 2 ISOs right now and give them a shot. Heck with it. Let's see, where is it? Ooh.
I can't find the flavors.
Just go to
What are you trying to
Distro
find?
Watch.
Someone ubuntu.com/download and
Hold on.
Oh, you know that website releases.ubuntu.com.
Ubuntu.
I got it. Flavors. You have to back up.
Yeah.
All right. Yep.
Yeah.
So we got app 3.0. Wow. Okay. Now I
Yeah.
do have to check it out. Okay.
I would recommend it.
Yeah. I wasn't going to actually because I'm not a big Ubuntu fan.
Well, app 3.0 I've heard is supposed to make it a lot more friendly, but man.
It has better logic for package resolution, and of course the output looks different, and more, I think, colorful. I think a little bit more colorful. I think.
Yeah.
I wonder if they gave that an MIT license.
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
I
I hope it is, but
It's
you know.
probably
No, I hope
whatever
it's GPL. We should hope it's GPL.
GPL.
whatever
Yes.
app is. App 2.0, it has to be the same thing, probably. They wouldn't update the license.
You would think, you know.
You would think, but if they wrote it in Rust,
I mean,
I'm just
either
saying.
way, I'm excited to look at it regardless.
I am too.
Well,
I'll look at it.
In
Yes.
fairness,
Yeah.
the Rust rewrite of the GNU core utils, that's a
Uh,
completely different project. That has something
That's
to
a
do with GNU.
completely
That's why it's a
different
new license and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So it's
I-
They totally rebased it. Yeah.
it's not a GNU license, but it's new.
There's some
No,
shade.
that is funny. Mhm.
Good times. All right. Well, so next week, Ubuntu of your flavor of your choice, whatever you want. If you want the main line, the vanilla, if you want to call it that,
Yeah.
or any
yeah.
others. So 2504. So that's what we'll be checking out.
2504, yeah.
And
All right.
hope to get as many people on here to talk about their experience, what they liked, what they didn't like as much, what they wish it had,
Yeah.
how the experience was. So
Yeah.
I don't know if we should do a poll on which version or how it's going. I don't know.
I guess we could have a poll of what's your favorite Ubuntu version.
There we go.
Now that would be interesting.
That would be interesting. Unity. Okay. All right. With that, also, if you have any suggestions, send them to suggestions@linuxsaloon.com. I'd appreciate that. We had actually a suggestion for an application of a different email application. So maybe we'll kick around that in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Was it you, Scrub Ghost, that asked that? Was it War Thunder or somebody else? Or anyway,
No, it was me. Yep.
Okay, awesome. So looking at probably doing that, and then we can just talk about email clients, or maybe explore some email clients. But if you have any other suggestions for distributions or poll ideas, whatever you got, send them to suggestions@linuxsaloon.com, or you can tag Eris or myself, or tag it with suggestion on the Telegram or Discord. However you want to do that, that'll work. And so I think good deal. I want to get to one news story here before we kind of get to the end of it here. Just one news story. Not to try and I don't know, push any particular desktop. But did anybody read This Week in Plasma? No. So I thought it was rather interesting, and so there's some new features coming to Plasma. So this is from the blogs.kde.org. It's actually in the Telegram news feed if you want to check that out. So Plasma 6.4.0 has a system-mounted application now, groups background services into a new background services. Ooh. So I don't know if you you can see all those services running. So you actually can see now that what's actually in the background, which I think that's pretty cool. And then also another neat little feature they've added. It's a clever feature, but you can add like a badge with the number of, like for Bluetooth, number of devices that are attached. So like right now I have 4 devices attached to Bluetooth on this framework. Ooh. Got my earbuds, my keyboard, number pad, and my mouse. They're all Bluetooth devices, although I can do not, but I prefer Bluetooth. And so then I would see a 4 badge on that. I think it's kind of a neat thing to see, know how many things are attached just by looking at it. Anyway, I think that's really cool. So another feature with KRunner is it's aware of some archaic units like furlongs and rods, so you can convert them to more modern units. So if you want how many rods are in a furlong, it'll tell you that. I think that's pretty cool. Dang. I mean, it's kind of one of those like, is it really useful? No, but it makes me smile, and I like features like that because that's what makes Linux fun. They have some printer improvements. Do we care about printers? I know Scrub Ghost loves printers. So anyway, I think that's neat. Also some drawing tablet visualizations for your stylus. So that's some improvements there as well. And then there's been some bug fixes as well. So they fixed the K1 crash caused by GPU resets. I don't know if that's what the problem I've been having every once in a while. Actually, not lately, but last week I did.
Boy.
So that's pretty cool if they got that. Fixed regression accidentally introduced in Plasma 6.3.4 where the activity switcher sidebar would misposition on multi-screen setups. I did actually notice some misplacements of windows, but not so much whatever. So the Meta P shortcut is to open the screen chooser overlay. Now works when using Qt 6.8.3 or 6.9, which that's neat. And then so for bug fixes for Plasma 6.4, dragging items to the kickoff application launcher favorites grid to rearrange them, no longer sometimes launches them afterwards. So that's good. And on Wayland, screen mirroring is now aware of differences in mirrored screens, aspect ratio, and letterboxes the screen content as needed. So if you have a 6x10 and a 6x9 and you mirror them, you're gonna get a little letterbox on the side so it doesn't stretch it, I guess. I think Windows does that by default. So the clipboard pop-up that appears when you press Meta V no longer sometimes appears on the wrong screen with X11. So they're doing X11 improvement still. And a bunch of other stuff too. So so it's pretty exciting. Does anybody here? I know that Dale uses Plasma. Does anybody else here use Plasma?
I have
Kind of,
Shasten.
in the
sometimes.
past,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
I am for the time being just because I'm using that Aurora DX, but I think I'm going to make a new image with something a little lighter
Okay.
that can tile a little better.
Yeah.
I don't like Plasma 6's tiling.
Oh boy.
Man, I liked it. I liked Plasma 5 with like BSPWM. That was really good.
Well, there's
Yeah. So Rudy's Retro Intel says Bluetooth dot matrix printer. I think that could be done. I've got an old Panasonic. I bet I could probably do some sort of Bluetooth to parallel port thing. Would that work? I don't know. That's kind of a neat idea. So there you go. Maybe somebody needs to invent that, a Bluetooth dot matrix printer. Not invent, but build, I suppose.
I think
Well,
it's
anyway.
brilliant
What's that?
I think it's brilliant to combine something that people have a lot of issues with, printers and Bluetooth together.
Yes. Marry the problematic Bluetooth with the problematic peripheral printer.
Oh no.
I don't really have Bluetooth issues necessarily. Very, very rarely do I have Bluetooth issues.
I don't have, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's been great for like 10 years-ish. For the most part. Well, neat. I think the last time I had Bluetooth issues was 2020. I remember I had there was a regression in the kernel where things wouldn't, the Bluetooth wouldn't activate on a fresh boot. I had to put it to sleep and come back up for Bluetooth to activate or something like that. Something stupid. Weird. Anyway, all right, well, it's about that time for last call. So we'll go ahead and move there. I don't know if Shasten, do you have anything going on here in your world that you'd like to share with the class at
Not too
large?
much. I'm going to be on Link Our Zoo's channel again on Tuesday. We're gonna finish up what we started, so that's really exciting.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's like, go ahead.
Do you go on there often, or is this a?
I did once like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And he's really into like NeoVim and Tmux, but he's a Mac user. And so I guess our show is about like the differences between Linux and Mac. And he likes Linux, like as far as like development's concerned, because he's a Kubernetes engineer.
Oh, okay.
So he's, really knowledgeable. He prefers using Mac because that's what he's used to.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's understandable.
Yeah, and he likes but he likes NeoVim and Tmux. That's what we have in common. So we were talking about like the differences between Linux and Mac and some of my moral objections to using a Mac.
I can understand that. I have objections too. I don't know if they're moral, if they're just, I don't know if they're moral or immoral reasons, but I got you.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well,
So
thanks.
anyway,
I appreciate you being here. And I don't know if you're in the Telegram or not, or Discord, but you know, if you're going to be on something else, feel free to share it with the rest of the Linux Saloon community, so we can follow along if we can. And that's what we're absolutely about. So shameless self-promotion is completely permitted and expected in the Telegrams, because it's about the community of people. So if you did something new, feel free to share it, because that makes it more fun for everybody. I think. Yeah. Because like, how am I supposed to know if you're doing something if you don't share it with me? You know?
Yeah. No. Exactly. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to get better about that stuff too. You know.
You do, Benji. Like when you start to call yourself Benji instead of Ben, we really would like to know ahead of time, so we're not caught off by surprise. I'm just kidding.
No worries. Well, this laptop has sort of been a pain in the gut, and I just, I always forget to change, my screen name on Zoom back.
That's fine.
Sometimes.
I think Benji's great.
Yeah. So plus it's what I call myself on, Twitch and Discord, everywhere else. So I figured, what the hey.
Yeah, just leave it. Benji's good.
Mine is, it's sort of my alias that I use all over the place. So, I figured might as well not change it just for YouTube,
And it's charming.
Yeah. So
Oh my God.
I try not to use Telegram. So you are on Discord though?
Yes. So I have a hard time with Discord. Discord's a very difficult platform for me to use. It's probably a me problem because I'm old and crotchety and I don't get it. But it's totally a me problem. It's nobody else's fault but my own. I can't wrap my head around it.
I'm struggling with it too. Actually, somebody had to set up my channel, so like I didn't do anything to set it up.
Oh, I don't set up anything on Discord. Yeah. I can barely get through notifications. I'm making a better effort because my kids are kind of pushing me to use it more, and like my nephew, and I'm like, and I kind of hold up my cane. Well, I'm like,
here's the thing
this is an IRC.
I'm right there with you.
How old are you? Because I think I'm older than you.
I'm 44.
Yeah, I'm older than you. I'm almost 50.
55.
I'm almost. That's funny, Shasten. I'm actually almost 34.
Yeah, I'm almost 50.
I'm so mad at you.
Yeah, you're just a youngster, man.
I got older than you.
Everybody in this chat has always said I'm just a youngster.
Yeah.
Which
won't be that way forever.
That is true.
Yeah, no doubt. You'll blink and wake up and you'll be 50 years old and you go, where'd all this time go?
Yeah, I know. It's every day it feels like, it's just getting to be that way. But we're in the midst of last call, so we don't want to keep me too much.
That's all good. So Caesar says, Nate, if I can do Discord, well, see, the difference is, Steve, you are a young buck. You may be retired, but you're still a young buck. There's something about you that's just like forever young. So that's why. So Ben, I would do time for free pour, but anything like you want to just like plug real quick about you? Real quick.
Well, nothing really happening too much right now with the distro. Once Ricky comes back, maybe that'll change. But, hopefully, actually, Shasten has offered some help. So I'm not going to, given we're not doing a community free segment, I'm not going to delve too much into that. But hopefully next week after the Ubuntu stuff, we will have something to talk about. And
cool.
I know, Shasten, I'm going to want you here for that plug. So, expect some more news on that next week, guys.
Excellent. What about you,
And,
Sean?
actually, there is one small thing I want to mention.
Okay.
I did start work
Okay,
on
Columbo.
a Gentoo script that hopefully Shasten will demo soon, and we will let you guys know how that goes. So,
All right, excellent. What about you, Sean?
all right.
About the only thing I've been working on this week is I had jailbroken my Kindle,
Oh, okay.
Oh,
and put on a different reader app, and it can sync with Calibre for Calibri.
oh, damn.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been working on migrating my book collection over, translating them all over to
Yeah.
EPUBs, and getting all the tags kind of back in place.
I saw that YouTube video also.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Uh-huh.
And with the way that Amazon has been recently, I feel a lot better having control over my content. So
I think I just want to do it too. I want to jailbreak or whatever my Kindle just so I can have Home Assistant on there. That's actually why I want it now.
Yeah.
So neat. Well, I just
there's
I'd like to hear what. Go ahead.
so there's actually an Alpine Linux installation that you can do after the jailbreak if you want to.
Does it work well?
I tried it. It didn't work out real well for me, but I'm pretty new to how this jailbroken broken Kindle works, so I took it off and I'll revisit it later.
Sweet. I'd like to hear more about that for sure. Thank you, Sean. Thanks for being here.
Happy to be.
Mike, I'm glad you are. Mike Chilson. Did I say it right, Chilson?
Yeah, I didn't do it, whatever it was.
Oh, all right. Well, I think you probably did. I see. Because you start like that, then I automatically assume that that's probably not the truth.
I always say it was him. You know,
Yeah.
that's how you started off.
It wasn't me. It was Julie.
What am I working on, right? Other than work, I've got a little side project going on. I'm setting up a BBS.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if anyone would like to go play with it, I actually have a web interface for it. And you can I'll put it in the chat here.
Yeah, do that.
And still pretty crude. I don't have all the networks set up on it like FidoNet. I've got one small one out of New Zealand set up, but I'm still in the process of setting it up. But I'd encourage you to go play with it if you've never played with a BBS, or if you miss them, go check it out. It's a lot of fun. So,
Yeah, that'll take me back.
yeah, it's amazing. It's just running off a little $5 a month Linode instance out there.
Oh,
And
That's really neat.
Yeah.
that is
All right, cool. I have that now saved. Thank you so much. I haven't done BBSing in a while. Maybe I should do that again. Can I BBS it with my Commodore 64?
Sure. If you can get on the internet with it.
I sure can.
There you go.
I can IRC with it too.
Actually, you can. There's a note on the bottom of the web page on how to connect with a terminal. So,
Sweet. I'll check that out. That'll be fun. What are you, Scrub Ghost? Anything you want to share with the class before we get out of here?
Yeah.
No, just thanks for letting me join in and mute with all you excellent people.
Oh, I appreciate it. I'm honored you could be here. That's great. Thank you so much.
No, that's so cool. That's about it.
Gotcha. So Dale, did you have any videos or any articles you want to make sure I kick in there?
If you remember, a few weeks ago, you told me that you're doing shorts with Kden Live.
Mm-hmm.
And it inspired me to figure it out. So now I'm doing shorts, reels, and TikToks using Kden Live on behalf of Linux and gaming on Linux.
Sweet.
I have figured it out.
Fantastic. Well, I do have your YouTube, so I'll make sure to put that in the show notes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dale, I've been trying to find you on Twitch, but I'll definitely get it done.
Yep. I'll put a link in here for Twitch.
I'm
Yeah.
actually on Twitch as well, guys, just so y'all know.
Sweet.
Yeah. Just real
I
quick,
mostly do gaming on it, but sometimes Linux, but it's mostly games and crap like that.
all right. Hey, just real quick, I got a motor. I got a little birthday thing to get to. So anyway,
All right,
it was
we'll see
good
ya.
to hang out
Shasten.
with you guys. So I'll see you guys later.
All right, we'll
Peace,
see you.
Shasten.
Peace.
Swift, I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to just say before we close it out.
All right.
Nope, I'm good. I just appreciate listening to the conversation. It's been very relaxing.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you being here, Swift. Jinda, you've been such a chatty Cathy, interrupting people all the time.
Yeah, I know. I really went out of control this time. I'm gonna have to dial it back.
Yeah, you dial it back.
I mean, I bumped it up a notch and then I just went out of control.
Yeah.
I
It
am so
happens.
chagrined.
Yeah.
Oh well,
I just
hopefully
linked,
I'll come back next week and I'll chat up a storm again.
I hope so. Thanks for being here.
no. Yeah.
Eris,
And I just linked my Twitch channel in the Zoom chat there.
got it.
Yeah.
Eris,
Yeah. I've mostly been showing my Star Wars Galaxies server on there, mostly, but sometimes it's other stuff, but usually it's my server. So
neat.
yeah.
I like server stuff. Anything self-hosted.
Yeah.
Eris,
Yeah,
anything you want to share with
it's,
the class?
I would just like to say that as long as there are printers out there, there will be people employed.
Yes, that's true. IT technicians will always
Gotta
have a
love it,
job.
pretended to make stuff funny.
For sure.
good.
All right,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
Steve's very own, he didn't join us tonight, but I always like to join his stream, so he streams throughout the week and also
Yeah,
Sundays. So check that out. A couple of my favorite podcasts to listen to. We got Linux User Space. That's one of my favorites. Linux Out Loud. I think we're recording again sometime soon. I know Wendy's been busy, so we can check that out. Matt, Wendy, I, sometimes Bill. We chat about Linuxy things. And I have a website called cubiclenate.com. I just actually released an article today on something very small and tiny. It was just adjusting the stickiness of your mouse on your screen edges. So I couldn't figure out how to do that, and I had to look it up, so I spent some time. I have a bunch of other stuff that I've been working on and haven't gotten done yet, so check that if you feel like it. So Linux Saloon is part of the Tux Digital Network, so check out more great shows at tuxdigital.com. I want to thank you all for your support, however you do it, being part of the conversation here in the Zoom meeting or on the YouTube stream, as well as for everyone watching this after the fact. Thank you. I want to thank everyone involved in making Linux and open source tools possible for us to not only have this conversation, but also to have fun and enjoy our technology. Linux truly puts personal back into personal computer. Thank you for stopping by. Be sure to tip your developers, and please remember to Linux responsibly. Until next time, see yous.
Good night, everybody.